Hello, everybody, and welcome to our very first episode of Equipment for Living Off Grid or Social Distancing here on the Dirty Buffalo Productions YouTube channel. Now, I'm sure many of you remember our cities being like this, full of people, lots of traffic, very crowded, a lot of stop and go, people just everywhere. And even back when our cities were still abuzz, there were people like me who wanted more like this. Nice, peaceful, quiet, open areas. Watch the sunset, hear the birds chirp, kind of do what you wanted because people weren't right on top of you and crowding you. So then all of a sudden, our cities and everything else just came to a grinding halt thanks to the spread of the COVID-19 virus and a lot of people being forced to stay at home. Now, with them being forced to stay at home, they've started to get out in their yards, their gardens, and started to take on a few more projects themselves. And they started to grow a lot more of their own plants and do a lot more around home that they weren't doing before. Problem with this is a lot of people have been kind of disconnected from that because everything was too convenient and right there for us. Now, in this new series, we're going to show you some equipment that we use from time to time, or just stuff that's out there that you might not have known was out there and available, to kind of help you keep that independence, to keep you away from having to go out as much to the dealerships, to the stores, to the gas pumps even, and going to give you the ability to start to take on more of these outdoor projects yourself, grow your own vegetables, your own plants, your own flowers, and things like that to stay a little bit more self-sufficient, much like living off grid. All right, what better piece of equipment to talk about when you're looking to distance yourself from everybody and not have to rely on anything than the good old-fashioned reel mower. Up until recently, I bet a lot of people thought the only people using reel mowers were Amish people and Clint Eastwood in Gran Torino. Remember that? He had the old school T-handle reel mower. That was the real deal there. But recently, with all the stay-at-home orders and everything, reel mowers have become a very hot item again. At the local hardware store, they have a hard time keeping these in stock, and they stock about 3 or 4 different brands and models of them. So that gives you a good idea there of how fast these things are moving. One good thing about these are you don't actually have to go out and buy one. You can order one online and have it shipped right to your house. Assembly is very easy. This one right here, all we had to do was put the handle together. So when we first got ours together, we thought, well, let's just put this thing to the biggest test we can find. And we went out here and we tried to mow some really tall, thick, wet grass. As you can see, it's doing it, but it made quite a mess, and it was a tough one to push. Now, as you can see here, this works a lot better. This grass is a little bit wet, but it's not real super tall. It's not real thick. And the big thing with using a reel mower is you go out there, you mow your grass, you don't let it get very long before you mow it again. But, you do get those times where there's a lot of rain and you just can't get to it, and you will have to force your way through it. But, for the most part, this is a very effective piece of equipment with very, very, very minimal upkeep. And you don't have to go out to the gas station to get any gas for it. There's no oil. I mean, you can't get much simpler than this. So that's why we started with this piece of equipment here in our first episode. So the way this thing works is there's gears in these wheels, and that's what turns the reel. You can see when you turn one of the wheels, the reel spins there. So that's how you get your motion for your reel. Then the reel has a sharp edge on it there, and then down below there you can see that this is what they call a bed knife. Basically it works like a pair of shears or a pair of scissors, where you get the motion of the two blades coming together to make your cut. That's what this does here. When there's two edges, the surface on the reel meets with this surface here, it just shears the grass off. And it does that in a not straight pattern. It doesn't go straight across. It spirals a bit, so that way you can see you're cutting there, and then it just keeps cutting as it goes across, because if you were trying to cut that all at one time, if this was straight across, you'd never be able to push and get to cut anything. If you try one of these now, out here in this wet grass, as you saw, we were mowing some pretty heavy stuff. It takes some effort to get the wheels to go and spin that thing. If there's too much of a strain on there, the wheels will just lock and the blade will lock, and you'll just be sliding it across the ground. There won't be anything happening. Now, this model here, as you can see down at the bottom, is the 18-inch Sun Joe. I don't know if they still make this one or not. I believe they do. This one's about 3 years old right now. But it came with that little grass catcher there, which is good if you're trying to mow the thick, heavy, tall grass like we were doing with it to try it out. After that, you can take that off, and if you're going out there and you're mowing consistently, your clippings are going to be really, really tiny, and they're going to decompose really fast compared to mowing with a lawn tractor. After you let the grass grow 2 inches and then you cut it back down to the normal height you want it at, and you have all that dead grass laying there that's absorbing the moisture and keeping it from getting into your soil. This mower here, with those tiny clippings, they'll decompose faster, they'll help fertilize your yard and give you a nice green carpet-like lawn. So let's talk about the advantages of a reel mower, because there's actually a lot of them, despite what you might think by its simplistic design. You have no gas, no oil, no spark plugs, no air filters, not really much on here at all to maintain, other than if you wear the tread off of those wheels, you have to replace them, and your reel, depending on how much stuff you hit and the kind of grass you're cutting. You're going to have to get that sharpened every once in a while, but for the most part, you're going to be able to do what they call backlapping, where you use valve compound and you spin it backwards and it puts a nice sharp edge on there. So your maintenance is the minimal maintenance you can do for a lawnmower. You can buy these things just about anywhere. Local hardware stores, Ace, True Value, Lowe's, Home Depot, Tractor Supply. You can get them, I think maybe even at Walmart. You can get them sent to your house from Walmart, Amazon, you name it. There's websites all over the place that sell them. Just Google reel mower and you'll be able to find them, get it shipped right to your house. You don't have to go out and shop for one. You have the grass catcher attachment, so if you are mowing that big heavy stuff and you need the bag, you can bag. You can store this thing virtually anywhere or haul it, in the trunk of your car or whatever, because there's no gas or oil to worry about spilling out of it. It's going to give your grass a nice, crisp cut and keep your grass blades healthier and looking better. That's why, like I said, they use these on golf courses to this day because of the quality of the cut you get. They are cheap compared to buying a gas-powered mower. You're talking around $100 for one of these Sun Joes like we have here in this video, and some of the other ones are still, $100 to $150. That's a pretty good price right off the bat for something you're not going to have to put a lot of money in as you go through the process of using it. This model has the adjustable wheels in the back so you can change your height to cut. Some of them have a roller in the back so it puts a nice stripe out across your yard in the direction you're mowing. There's very low noise from these reel mowers, and there's no exhaust fumes or smoke or anything like that. Now, on the con side, as you might have guessed, this can be a little bit of a workout here, so it might be a con for some and a positive for others, but the first couple times around, it's going to take some getting used to, especially if your grass is tall and thick like you saw us doing there in the video. There's going to be a lot of resistance on this baby, and it's going to be tough to push. Now, speaking of being tough to push, you're also going to have to go out and you're going to have to make sure that your yard is clean. It's not going to be like with a lawn tractor or a push mower where some people just go out there and they just run over whatever's there. They don't bother to check to see if there's a stick or a twig or a pebble or a dog's toy laying there in the grass. They're not going to run over it. With these things, if you hit anything like that, you will know it. If it comes up into that reel, it will just jam up and it will stop you in your tracks. And you'll have to very carefully remove whatever it is and then go back to mowing. So you want to make sure your lawn is clean before you go out there and mow. Using a reel mower will be a little bit more time consuming compared to a gas-powered rotary mower or even a gas-powered reel mower, which they do have out there. You got to remember on this one here, you're the engine. You're supplying the power to this thing. You're the one pushing it, so eventually you're probably going to wear down, especially if you're pushing this thing up and down hills. So figure in a little bit of extra time compared to just going out there and mowing your yard with the regular style gasoline-powered rotary mower. You might also have a hard time finding somebody that is capable of sharpening one of these reels. If you live near a golf course or somebody that does a lot of sharpening, they might be able to take care of it for you or tell you who could take care of it for you. But for the most part, there aren't a lot of people out there that do this anymore, and it is quite the process. But then again, if you're paying $100 to $150 for this mower and you can backlap it to get through a couple years, you get 3 or 4 years on this thing, $100 in that time, you might want to think about going out and buying a new one anyway. So to wrap this up here, in my personal opinion, as far as a piece of equipment to social distance or live off grid, I think a real mower, maybe not this brand, but a real mower in general, is a very good investment. It's not going to require you to go out for anything, really. You're going to be able to go out there and just mow your yard. You don't have to worry about struggling to pull the rope to start it. You don't have to worry about it being flooded, having a carburetor issue, none of that stuff. There's no wires on it for the mice to eat. I mean, think about it. So, yeah, this is definitely a good piece of equipment for that purpose. All right, everybody, thanks for watching and joining us here for our first episode. Be sure to subscribe and keep checking back because we're going to be putting out quite a few more episodes here of some good equipment that you can use for living off grid or social distancing.